Hi everybody, my name is David, and this is All Things Sacred. Um, I want to apologize for the video quality isn't going to be as good. Here's a just to show what the card looks like, and it's already a difficult card to see, but because of all the lines crossing through it. But my camera's not working, so I'm using the other one. The sound seems to be good enough, but the video quality's a little bit shoddier. But that's okay; it'll have to do. So we're talking about the second major arcana, well, the third rather, right? It's the one attributed to the number 2. It's been a little bit since I've done a video, but I'm glad to be back, and I hope you're all well. We talked about the Fool and the Magus. So, I've been doing a little bit of thinking, and it's kind of like another easy way of describing it, because there's a lot of things that can be said about the major arcana as their role as forms, because they're really like the gods, the deities, the forms of God, the forms of the infinite, which is best represented by the Fool. The Fool really is that idea of God in his form as infinitude, as ultimate possibility. Um, you could talk about them a lot, and I am going to do this in this video with the number 2. You can talk about them as forms in numbers, as perfect forms, as that we can see expressed in the physical world through mathematics. Pythagorean wisdom is where this comes from, so the idea of the number 1 would be the representation of the Logos, the divine word, the order and divine intelligence that is spread throughout creation as represented by the father energy often. Although Mercury isn't really seen as such in the scheme of mythology, in the scheme of the numbers, the number 1 is the divine monad, which sits inside all of nature, which seems to be varied and differentiated. And that's what we come to talk about in the second or the third major arcana. Again, I did it, but it is the number 2, and there's so much of the number 2 found in this card. We could talk about this as well. And it really inspires for me a bhakti devotional sense, when you could see the Magus as being the father energy that shows itself in the intelligence of creation, and then this would be the mother energy of nature itself. We're put into this creation, and it seems varied and multifaceted, but in all reality, anywhere you look within nature, you'll find this 1. It's just 2 ones that go to create this 2. They complement one another. In all reality, this is the bosom, the womb in which we sit as created beings within the universe of God, the universe of divine intelligence, the universe of the immortal soul. And there's a lot of, again, I keep pulling it up and putting it down. There's a lot, and that's good for Mercury too, because he goes between the worlds. He's the psychopomp. He's the shining light that can shine even in the darkness. And this is the bright created world that is dark and veiled, seemingly, to our experience, to our understanding when we first come upon and meet the priestess in our lives. Because these veils, and you can see that about this card, even though it's also veiled by the video quality, that there's veils in front of the statue of the priestess with symbols of fertility coming on the bottom of the card. Because the priestess, to really understand and see that bright light, that moon energy, because she is the major arcana of the moon, is really difficult, because the moon is always changing, and it seems to be many different things, and this is represented analogously in our own experience by the many and varied changes and difficulties that we go through, that as we're pushed and pulled, like the moon pushes and pulls the waves of the ocean. We're pulled by nature to go this way and that way, which often brings discomfort and instability, but then again, it'll bring stability and calmness and peace. And it's through looking past these veils and seeing the true form of nature there as our Divine Mother that we come to experience the Magus as well. that we see that her light of difficulty and pain and the wisdom that we gain from these things is really his light of divine order as well, shared to us. And we are as much a part of her as we are a part of him, so to say. The two aspects of male and female as dual representations of God that are the expression of the seed potential found in the Fool. This is nature overall. And it, not nature, like we're going to see in the next card, as the creation itself, but this is the bosom of creation, of all possible potential finding its place. It's manifesting itself through wisdom, through intelligence, so that we can use this wisdom cosmically as, are being being reflections of the divine. The divine uses the moon, the wisdom from the priestess, from nature, to create a bridge to us. And we also create this bridge to ascend. And we have to experience these discomforts, these difficulties, if we are to find the fertility at the bottom of the card, which shows the foreshadowing of the Empress to come, the creation itself, the harmony of these different things. Like I said, this has a little bit to do with Pythagoreanism, with Pythagorean thought, and the one is represented as the monad, which is the singular of all creation, the thing which between the different things in nature is the same, that which within all is the same. And the two has to do with that which is different. And so things appear dual in nature. And when the divine expresses itself in duality, it appears to also take the form of evil, as well as it's taking the form of good. And for that reason, these veils are created, because the understanding of this paradox, that the divine can express itself in both the good and the bad of created existence, allows one to have a moment of clarity, of insight, as a Zen koan would. Understanding these paradoxes is going past these veils. Looking at the universe as full of mystery is eradicated when one can see past any one of these and allow it to plant a seed in their heart of feeling and sincerity. Because even having much of this wisdom intellectually won't allow one to even tap into the divine intellect of the mages. This wisdom isn't only for the mind. It's for something much greater, for the eternal soul. And one can understand and be a master of many different types and techniques within many different traditions. But unless one sees past that veil of truthfulness and untruthfulness, of that veil of duality, and finding true heart there, allowing this water, this ocean that is affected by the moon, as our closest connection to it, in a reflection upon the waters within ourselves. We too are moved by the moon and its ever-changing nature. And our minds as well are affected by this. And it's only by seeing these aspects, these changing things as parts of ourselves, that we find the true unchanging part of it all. That in our differences, our difficulties are the same, our pain and our pleasure and our true joy are one. I really enjoy this card because the feeling of it is very motherly. The energy that it gives off is one of nurturing. And when you understand the major arcana as having a greater intelligence, so to say, than the minor arcana, that can lift them to the lofty heights of gods or forms of the divine, you can really start to see how they influence and affect our lives if we only let them, lest we be dragged to be pulled by the various spirits, so to say, of the minor arcana, so that they rule our lives and we only see their small play. Until you can really see that, the appreciation of some of these experiences should be sought out, should be yearned for, with the greatest desire. Because when one can tap into that, they can, for example, here, with this card of difficulty and pain and tears, lots of tears, right? It's a very watery card. When one can appreciate really understanding the divine intellect that can only be connected to by the soul, beyond the mind itself, to a greater intellect, the soul's intellect. When one can have that experience, then all the difficulties of the world disappear. Because, for example, again, we see this card of pain and difficulty, and we only see the fertility. We don't even see the veils. The veils are vibrating light off of her fixture, creating the spider web of Maya, of creation, of this play, this Leela, this divine dance, this cosmic dance of God dancing alone with God, forever, infinitely, eternally. This is where the devotion comes from. It's a difficult and frustrating card to approach from the outside, because it seems like Diana is aiming her arrows at you. But when you can see that her arrows and the seeming slights that they impose upon you at the time are blessings and gifts and kisses and caresses from the Divine Mother, staving you off from destroying yourself. This is the wisdom of nature. Harsh, difficult, and extremely powerful. Overwhelmingly huge. This is the wisdom of the Divine Mother. That is our only path as we ride her arrow to the light of the Magus, to attain his wisdom, his understanding of unity. And I was going to say peace, but that's, I just don't want to throw words out there, because his is really, it does create peace. It does create peace and light, more than anything else, though. It really shines a light upon all of this seeming discord. That is what allows for peace. That is where the peace comes from. But I want to say that it brings peace. I hope that I could use his wisdom, the divine intelligence of the Divine Father, to express that light to you through this veil, so that these words just aren't said offhand, but that they actually try to touch a core within you. I'm gonna stop there. That actually felt very complete, and I will do another video here soon. I enjoyed having a little break because I did do quite a bit, but I am more than ready, happy, and excited to get this on the move again. And I think that was a very good start. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Love you all, and take care.